Hey everyone, we get to start off the school board meeting in the best way possible, celebrating our kids. So could I please ask everybody to rise so we can do a pledge of allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation and indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Over to you, Dr. Rinelli.
Thank you and welcome everyone. So tonight we will do our National Merit Recognition. Good evening and thank you for joining us for our honor for the Lower Merion School District students who have been recognized by the National Merit Scholarship Competition. School Board of Directors, Mr. Warshawer, Dr. Johnson, and I are extremely proud of these students. Not only because they have scored well on a test, but also because many of them are pursuing a variety of interests in addition to their academic accomplishments. Tonight, we recognize a combined 27 students from Harrison and Lower Merion High School who have been named semifinalists in the 2024 National Merit Scholarship Competition, and an additional 49 students that received commended student designation. Our district semifinalists are among approximately 16,000 national semifinalists overall and will be eligible to compete for one of three scholarships. More than 95% of the semifinalists are expected to attain finalist standing, and about half of those finalists will win the top honor, earning them the title of National Merit Scholar. It's our pleasure to recognize these students tonight and wish them all the best as they represent our district and move on in the competition. Congratulations to the students and their families, and I will now turn it over to Mr. Warshawer, Harriton High School Principal.
All right, thank you for joining us this evening. My name is Stu Warshawer. I'm the acting principal at Harriton. I'm joined by my friend and colleague, Dr. Mike Johnson, who is only a rival when it's LM versus Harriton in sports, to honor a remarkable accomplishment of academic success for students from Harriton and Lower Merion. Students, we applaud your success and admire your dedication to academic excellence. Your recognition tonight is not just because of a great score on a test. It's about the long hours, the hard work that you've put in over your scholastic career. I want to take this opportunity also to recognize that achievements like this one are made possible through the support and efforts of many people, including your families, teachers, and other loved ones, although the final effort and achievement are all yours. I kindly encourage you, students, to thank those most responsible who have helped you get here. I'm sure that they will all take great pride in your achievement as well. On behalf of Harriton High and Lower Merion High School, please accept our congratulations and good wishes. I will begin by calling the names of tonight's Harriton honorees, and then Dr. Johnson will come up to call Lower Merion High School. As I call your name, please come forward to receive a certificate. Miles Baldwin. Sage Bowman. Noam Burdetsky. Christopher Chang. Sarah Cohen. Clover Collins. Dylan DiMartino. Sam Ferenchik. Delaney Free. Dana Gutler. Ava Gershovic. Nicholas Grossman. Angelina Wong. Colin Kelly. Anna Coble. Nolan Koo. Olivia Lee. Raymond Liu. Sansan Liu. Aya Maroof. Haneen Maroof. Fanula McCann. Arjun Mooney. Daphna Nevler. Delia Raining. Elizabeth Rothman. David Shen. Gabriela Sola. Levi Toika. Hannah Tong. Keanu Tsao. Charlotte Ufberg. Asher Waldman. Maya Yotam. Marshall Zafiriou. And Anna Zhang.
All right, good evening. My name is Dr. Johnson. I'll be reading the name of the honorees from Lower Merion High School. Sarah Agard. Ari Anafi. Jacqueline Belria. Jackson Berry. Nina Bowser. Alistair Browning. Alessandra Cahill. Amelia Kendu. Lincoln Doolittle. Ye Meng Du. James France. Nathaniel Gao. Yi Ming Gao. Finn Gilligan. Isabella Gilligan. Adrian Hillis. Evan Kim. Benjamin Lee. Sam Lockman. Clara Loiter. Marcus Lord. Alexander Mazio. Nicholas Mazio. Samuel McNeary. Eva Mabane, RJ Miller, Arman Najati, Ada Onder, Devin Pettit, Samuel Pellequino, Samuel Potts Drew, Alexandra Pro, Nathaniel Promer, Philippe Ricard, Max Ringgold, Caspian Robbins, Sasha Romansky, Theodore Schoenfeld, Sebastian Steed, Florian Sushwat Shah, Theodore Cilio, Jacob Sippy, Allison Tan, Jonah Vogel, Finley Wagner, Emily Wang, Robert Wang, Samuel Wu, and Ethan Yu. Thank you.
So we're going to allow for some pictures. Would you all kind of rise, and we'll give one more round of applause for these fine young men and women. We appreciate you and all you mean to Lower Merion School District. We are going to take a 5-minute turnover, so please take some pictures and we will give you some more direction. But at that point, if you are here for your students and you wish to go, you're free to leave at that point. Thank you very much.
Okay, now we're officially ready to get started. So welcome everybody to the October 20th, 2025 regular meeting of the Board of School Directors. This meeting is also available via Zoom webinar. It will be live streamed and it's being recorded via video with sound for public broadcast. All participants joining via webinar who wish to make comment will need to use the chat feature, which will be enabled during the audience recognition portion of the agenda. If you are attending this meeting in person, you should be aware that attendees may be recording this meeting as permitted by the Sunshine Act. That means remarks made at your seat can also be recorded, so they can record any part of the room whatsoever because of the Sunshine Act. But the board believes it's in the best interest of the board itself and the entire district to hear comments from the public. That means district residents and taxpayers. An opportunity will be given later during that public audience recognition portion for anybody who would like to speak to come up to the podium and share your comments with the board. Couple notes on that. Number one, Ms. LaPere is at the very end with the pile of candy. If you'd like to sign up, sugar is always happy at the end of the night. Kids and sugar, that's the goal today. So please sign up there. And also just for everybody's information, it is the First Amendment freedom, but it is limited to 3 minutes. So you'll have to share with everybody your name, where you reside in the district general area, and then you'll have 3 minutes to speak. Okay, that's our general going through the motions. Excited to start the meeting with our merit scholars. And just real quick, we're going to do something a little bit different tonight. We've been starting in the committee meetings, but also in the general board meeting. We've got new faces. The way we do these things is different sometimes depending on the meeting that you're in. So tonight we're in a school district business board meeting. It's much more formal, even though I don't feel very formal right now, but it's much more formal meeting. We have rules that we follow and we're moving through pretty quickly. It's the general idea, the way that we process it through the school board is that the items that we bring before you to vote as an entire unit together have been vetted before and typically at committee meetings. So this is what makes it a business board meeting, and the comment section towards the end is for you to give us your comments before we make any of those votes. What we're going to do over the course of the year is just make sure in every committee meeting and every board meeting, make sure we give an overview of what the focus is of that meeting, how that meeting runs, and then the agenda as well, because they are very different and committee meetings has much more dialogue. So I've asked my other board members who are doing their committee reports to kind of share a little bit about their committee before they dive in. And without further ado, I'd like to turn it over to Dr. Ranelli for the superintendent update.
Thank you. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. So my superintendent's report has a few areas. The first one, a couple of weeks ago, as you all know, we had an emergency response we needed to react to. And our safety and responses and protocols were put into action. So when I get here, the first thing I do with the team is kind of look at the safety protocols and things like that. And on paper, they look great. We had everything under control and it looked good. It did not translate into action as well as we would have hoped. So the communication was the most important thing. I took a little notes because I really wanted to make sure I hit a lot of points. So communication was the most important thing, and we really understood, me being a parent of 3 kids, really understood student experiences as well as parent experiences, and we wanted to make sure we took them very seriously to make sure that we addressed them. So we met with the Montgomery County Safety and Security and the Lower Merion Police Department, and we have been and we will continue to change some protocols and responses very simply and really make them a little more simpler to follow, and that they align with the emergency types. Process changes will happen throughout the district. Meetings with administrators, and ultimately your children in the classrooms will know that we're drilling for a little bit of a different responses. Okay? And ultimately parent guidelines will be sent home, so I want to make sure you know kind of what the changes are as well. I'd like to acknowledge helpful feedback from the community, from the HSA as well, and I always appreciate their partnerships. Next topic that I have, if I can get there, here we go. Our board meeting responses to our public comments. There's been a lot of questions and things. Well, people come up and they say what they say. Are they ever responded to? Questions lately about that section. When people have concerns, are they really addressed? And please know we appreciate all community feedback. Thank you for taking the time to come out, on an evening away from your families and things like that. And we respond appropriately to the new items that need follow-up. So similar to social media, there's some degree of misinformation that you have when you come up to the podium. If anybody in the audience or watching this at home has any concerns about what they heard here, please send an email to community comments and we'll be happy to address it if it's a new issue. All right, here we go. So reminder, we had a presentation from Black Rock Middle School not too long ago at one of our board meetings called the Yo Book Fest. Black Rock Middle School this Saturday coming up from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. and the details are on the school website. So please come out and visit. That would be great. We've also had questions about putting our professional development for our staff members. What will they be learning all year? And we had questions about putting them on our website or communicating that information to the public. And I've been working with the curriculum team and the central office team to figure out kind of what that means and what the best product would be for you all to see that. So by the end of the week, you'll be able to see on our website a link for professional development and sort of the schedule for the year. So I just want to let you know that we hear you. We want to make sure that you have all the information you need, and it should be there by the end of the week, this week. So now I would like to invite up Cami for an ISC update, one of our great partners in the community.
Thank you, Dr. Brunelli. Good evening, everyone. My name is Cami Pulsifer, and together with Robin Gowrie, I am one of the co-presidents of the LMSD Interschool Council, or the ISC. Just a little bit about us. The ISC strives to enhance education by promoting communication amongst parents and guardians, teachers, administrators, board of school directors, and the general community. As the umbrella organization of our 11 HSAs, we hold monthly events, which are always open to LMSD parents and guardians. And we hope you're able to join us at some of our upcoming events. Tomorrow morning, we have a roundtable conversation, and that is held both in person at the District Administration Office building and also on Zoom. Our guest for tomorrow will be LMSD Chief Financial Officer Vic Orlando, who will explain how the district budget operates. Join us for coffee and donuts at 9:15. Program will begin at 9:30. Our next Parent Ed program will be held on November 19th, 7 p.m., featuring Dr. Gao Che Young, and this event is held exclusively on Zoom. Our most recent Parent Ed program featured Mark Trainer, licensed counselor with extensive training and experience in treating compulsive behaviors and trauma. He spoke about trends, risks, and warning signs of teen gambling. To view this or any of our past roundtables or parent education events, please visit our channel on YouTube, the LMSD Interschool Council ISC. Lastly, our mini grant application program is open to and it's available to all LMSD staff. Mini grants support creative and innovative approaches to teaching, and they help aid in the personal and academic development of LMSD students. This application process will be accepted until October 31st. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and we appreciate the partnership. And that concludes my report.
Wonderful. Okay, what is next on the agenda, all the way at the other end, are our student reps. So BJ, would you like to go? You're at Harridan.
Yep, thank you. Good evening, everyone. I'm BJ Uzel. Let's go over some things that have been happening at Harridan recently. On October 4th, over 600 students attended Harridan's homecoming dance, themed A Night in Paris. The night before, the homecoming court was announced during the school's first pep rally of the year, held in the Ram Gym. Students and teachers came together to participate and cheer on the nominees who were chosen by popular vote. Each grade selected 2 students based on their spirit and style during Spirit Week. From start to finish, it was a fun celebration for the Harridan community. Harridan's fall sports teams are having an amazing season. Our boys soccer team finished first in the Central League and will be playing their first playoff game this Wednesday. They've had an impressive run with 16 wins, 1 loss, and 1 tie. The girls' volleyball team also had a fantastic season, beating Lower Merion and Strathaven for the first time in over 10 years. As fall sports wrap up, we're ready to kick off the winter sports soon. Dr. Harridan's annual fundraiser for Jerseys for Kids is back. Applications to join the production team closed on October 6th, while applications to be contestants closed last Wednesday, October 15th. We're really excited and looking forward to another amazing show next February. Last but not least, Harriton's Theater Club is putting on a play called Clue from November 20th to the 22nd. All proceeds will go to a nonprofit called Smile for Philly. Tickets are $15 online and $10 if you buy them in person. That's all from Harriton for this month. Thanks for listening and have a great evening.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Eden, do you want to go next from Lower Merion High School?
Hi everyone, my name's Eden Analik and I'm a junior from Lower Merion High School. You met my twin sister last month, but I'm the older twin by a full 4 minutes and it very much counts. I remind her often. Tonight I'm here to bring you some news, updates, and a little LM pride from our amazing school community. On a September 30th, LM had the pleasure of welcoming Julie Berry, award-winning young adult novelist and New York Times bestseller, for a special author visit. She met with students and teachers for a lively presentation about her writing process and her new novel, If Looks Could Kill. She talked about how stories evolved through many drafts, which honestly made us all feel much better about our English essays. Then, on October 9th, 14 Lower Merion seniors traveled to Arcadia University for a Constitution Day forum all about the judicial branch, basically how judges do their thing and why it's important that they stay independent. Students got to hear directly from real judges about how courts make tough calls and how they handle pressure from politics and media. It's like Law and Order, student edition, minus the dramatic music. Also, on October 9th, Lower Merion sophomores and juniors took the SAT, a thrilling morning of bubbling circles, second-guessing answers, and wondering if C really is the statistically safest choice. Moving from test-taking to headline-making, let's talk about the New York Times Open Letter Contest. 4 of our AP Lang students made us proud with national recognition in the New York Times Student Open Letter Contest, with national recognition and out of nearly 10,000 entries worldwide. Shout out to our honorable mentions, Alexandra Pro and Alistair Browning, and extra kudos to our finalists, Saria Huriel for Profits Continued to be Bigger in Texas, and Theodore Cilio, whose Let's Roll Bach the Elitism. That last one gets bonus points for a classical music pun. These students used their voices to share their perspective and make readers think. The takeaway? Don't underestimate a teenager with an opinion and a Google Doc. Let's switch gears from essays to scorecards. Here's your LM Sports Roundup. Girls JV soccer absolutely killed it with a 9-0 win over Upper Darby. Girls volleyball is serving up success with 5 straight double wins for JV and varsity, a perfect setup for the rest of the season. Senior golfer Seiji Seiko qualified for the PIAA State Championship. Talk about being above par in the best way possible. Girls varsity water polo made history with 2 victories in 1 tournament. They're also hosting a tri-water polo clinic on October 21st from 5 to 6 p.m. for kids in grades 2 through 8. Come for the boys varsity game before it, and stay for the cannonballs. The tennis team won the district title last week, and our state championship run starts tomorrow morning. We're hoping to smash expectations. And last but definitely not least, congrats to my twin sister Shyla for punching her ticket to the state singles tennis championship at Hershey on Halloween weekend. And I'm hoping her forehand's even sweeter than the chocolate. And then looking ahead, homecoming dance is coming up Saturday night, October 25th. The following week, Spirit Week, takes over from October 27th through 30th. The week concludes when the Radnor game kicks off on November 1st at 2 p.m. at Radnor, where School of Pride meets November weather and everyone pretends they're not cold. On a serious note, October is National Principals Month, and we're proud to recognize Dr. Johnson for his incredible leadership and to honor our late principal, Dr. Hughes, whose kindness and character continues to inspire our entire community. That same spirit will be in full stride at the Sean A. Hughes Memorial 5K and Fun Run, happening Sunday, November 9th. It's more than just a race, it's how our community keeps Dr. Hughes' legacy running strong. To sign up and lace up, the link is on the lmsd website. And that's it for your LM update, fueled by school pride, twin energy, and just enough sleep to keep it together.
Excellent job, both of you. Thank you so much for the updates. Really entertaining tonight. We understand if you have homework and things to do and all those things, so feel free to head on out, but you're also always welcome to stay. Now we're going to go to committee reports. So remember, committee chairs, a little bit about your committee, and then dive into what happened at last meeting, and we'll begin with policy.
Okay, thanks so much. Next time we'll have Eden help me write my update. It might be a little more humorous. For the policy committee, we really focus on, shocker, policy, but what we really do is in partnership with the administration review our policies that they are most needed to have updated and reviewed, and also put an emphasis on those policies that as a board that we want to have reviewed. The policy, the iterations at which they go in terms of review also have to follow work that we're trying to move forward in the district. And so, for example, we've been trying to have much more synergy around policies that are impacting curriculum also be reviewed at the same time as they are going to curriculum committee. It is also, we're really glad that Dr. Ranelli is in seat now to help guide which policies to prioritize in which order, and so that we make the most of our time. Most recently, at our recent meeting, we were focused on, I'm just bringing up my notes, we were focused on reviewing and the updates on policy 236. We reviewed, which are positive behavior supports, and having an update about how the policy implementation and next steps we committed to having administration take were going. We reviewed policy 125, which was summer programs, and if you were at the curriculum meeting, that's also what was discussed at the curriculum meeting. We also reviewed the AR for purchasing 610 with minor revisions, and then took another look at a policy that we reviewed and redid in 2023 around registration and enrollment overview. None of these policies are coming forward to a vote from the board. They were all in discussion at our last meeting. One thing that y'all, depending on where a policy is in the order, there will be either a first read, a second read, or going to the board for a formal vote. So there were no policies that are coming forward for a formal vote this round. So thanks so much. Always happy to answer any questions about policy, and grateful to Abby and Melanie, who also sit on the policy committee with me. Thanks.
Excellent job, thank you. And next up is curriculum. Sarah? Oh, did you?
Sure. So the curriculum committee of the board, our main role is to provide input and feedback to district leadership regarding teaching, learning, assessments, and professional development. During our committee meetings, we receive information about curriculum updates, changes, textbook and curriculum purchases, and data results from state assessments and surveys. We also discuss topics that affect teaching and learning in the district. Some recent examples of presentations that we've had include summer programming, which I'll talk about in a minute, AI use in our schools, and an update on the full-day kindergarten program. So our meeting, which was held last week on October 13th, our main presentation was a recap of our summer programs. In total, we had 1,804 students participate in our summer programs this past summer. Our programs mainly are for either academic enrichment, remediation, there are accelerated learning opportunities, and we also offer support for transition for students. It's a mix of in-person and virtual programs. Some of the programs are a few days long, others run up to 5 or 6 weeks. If you are interested in learning more about any of the summer programs, I would strongly suggest looking back at this presentation. It gave a good overview of all of the different programs. If you're thinking about programming for your child for this coming summer, it's a good resource to look at to be able to see what we do offer. Typically, registration opens in the spring for the summer programs. Thanks.
Wonderful, thank you so much.
Can I jump in and just add one thing?
Oh, sure.
Sorry. We had a really robust community comment section, and we had a lot of discussion. I admit that there was a question that I hadn't gotten because I was a little perturbed because I didn't receive an email that was asked about, but we were able to have a really in-depth conversation, and I know there's been some talk about it in the community, and I would really encourage people to go ahead and watch that meeting all the way through, including that discussion, because it really gives some more detail and fleshes out the situation. So thanks for that.
Thank you both. Now, last but not least, is Facilities and Purchasing Committee meeting. Jason.
Thank you. So the Facilities and Purchasing Committee provides strategic input and feedback to the district's leadership team on the ongoing operation of facilities, their maintenance, and their use. Some of the topics that we cover are include but aren't limited to the list of bills, district contracts, roofs at schools, playgrounds, outdoor spaces, anything facility-wise inside and outside of the schools. So this past meeting, we handled the list of bills. We discussed the purchasing report, which included a parts washer for some of our mechanical needs, chiller installation, a winter backhoe rental. We also discussed district contracts, which included CLEAR, which confirms residency. We discussed the JV squash, the agreement at Kinwood Club, Kronos Support Services contract, which handles timekeeping for non-salaried employees, Fleetio contract, which dealt with maintenance requests and work orders for buses, as well as our student transportation contract, which handled coach buses if needed for competitions. And last but not least, Dr. Rinelli provided an update on our outdoor spaces, which included playgrounds and fields between Kinwood Elementary and Kinwood Middle School. And the update was just that he plans to present our next steps in January. So our next meeting is November 13th, 2025. It's 9:30 over on Zoom, and we hope to see everyone there.
Excellent, thank you so much. Okay, now it's audience recognition time on the agenda. So at this time, we will hear public comment. If you would like to speak at tonight's meeting and have not done so yet, please sign up with Ms. LaPere, end of the table with the candy. For those of you who are joining us via webinar, the chat feature will now open, and you'll see a 10-minute timer appear on your screen. You can submit your comments and your questions via the chat feature. Again, they have to stay in that 3-minute time window. Be sure to use your full name and where you reside in the district. When you come up to comment, the first few things should be shared there. And just want to make one note that today we were having issues with AWS outage. We've been experiencing them on and off throughout the district today. So if the live stream glitches on you or the webinar boots you off, just come back on. It's been pretty stable the whole meeting, but I just wanted to say it out loud just in case.
Okay, I have 2 students that put there, so if there's any other students other than Viva and Leo, please come down and let me know, but first we have Aviva Scheffler, and then I think it's Leo Reed, or Lee Reed, either one.
Hello, my name is Aviva and I live in Ardmore. As of this year, for many reasons, I am now a former LMSD student. While at LMSD, my personal information was leaked because of an LMSD vendor, Power School. This happened last year in my 5th grade year. I'm bringing this up now because I heard my mom speaking to a friend and sharing about what happened. I asked my mom what she was talking about. My mom told me and then apologized for not explaining earlier. It is hard to know when to tell a kid that their information is exposed. I should not have to be here talking to you at all because my information should have been protected. I know that eventually most people deal with security issues, but it should not happen to people so young and because of school. The school district should have protected me and not given my personal information to unsafe vendors. How many students in LMSD were impacted? This is something I would like to know. I feel bad for all of the families that were affected, and I worry about how this will harm us in the future. Thank you.
Thank you.
Leo, and then after Leo, we have Anna Chauvin, Rahul, Mystery, and then Michelle Miller.
Hello, my name is Leo Reed. I'm a 10th grade student at Lower Merion High School, and I'm from Narberth. On Friday, October 3rd, we had a lockdown. During this lockdown, I saw kids running. I saw kids screaming. I heard someone yell, "Run, everybody, run now!" Of course, I immediately thought there was a shooter in the building. So I ran outside. Kids kept running, and many jumped the fence to get away from the school. This all happened during lunch, so there was no teacher to guide me. Outside, I hid behind a car until I found a police officer a couple blocks away. He told me there was no threat, and he told me I should return to the school. So I did. As traumatic as that was, what hurt even more was what happened when I walked back in. A school official scolded me, said, quote, "This is a lockdown, not a lock leave." At that moment, I was scared. I was shaken. I was nearly in tears. I was thankful I hadn't been killed, but instead of support, I was shamed for doing something I thought would save my life. All my life, we've been taught this procedure in a school shooting: run, hide, and fight. I ran because I believed there was an active shooting. I was running because at that moment, I truly believed my life was at risk, and I told myself in that moment, no, I will not die today. My school scared me so much into believing we had a shooter in the building, then scolded me and shamed me for following proper procedure. Is that the right way to treat students? The school days after hurt even more. At LM, we have an acronym ACES: accountability, character, effort, and safety. The first A in ACES stands for accountability, but not a single person from the LM administration stood up and said, "I'm sorry for the confusion that happened that day." Accountability means acknowledging some mistakes were made and procedures need to be evaluated. My friends and I thought we were in a school shooting. My friends were crying. Some kids inside found hiding places, but then were kicked out and told to go advisory. They felt like they were put in the open, and now the shooter could be around any corner. Do you know how horrifying that is? You could turn one corner and be shot right then and there. In middle school, we had a therapist come after a traumatic accident happened where a teacher passed away. This was also traumatic, and for many of us, why wasn't a therapist not available the days after for many students affected by this event? And if the threat is outside the school, this needs to be communicated more clearly. And also, to add on to that, I have no clue what to do if we have a shooting during lunch. Some teachers did go above and beyond, and I'd like to thank my art teacher, Mr. Lowy, who checked in on us and helped us get past this hard time. I would like to hear from the superintendent, administration, school board, what will be done to make sure the chaos of the lockdown will not happen again. Please put policies in place so we can actually feel safe at school. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Anna Shaven. I reside in Bryn Mawr with my husband and my 1st and 5th grader. I'm here tonight to comment on the evolving policy around smartphones in schools and their accessibility. And I want to ask the school board to completely ban smartphones from our schools. Thank you. Over the last decade, our kids have been growing up in a world that never turns off. You guys know this, but between 2010 and 2019, depression and anxiety among young people rose by 50%. The suicide rate for teens rose 48%. For girls between the ages of 10 and 14, it rose 131%. Yet the average age for a child's first smartphone in Philadelphia is 10 and a half, 10 years. A study conducted between 2010 and 2015 by the Pew Research Center has the share of teens with smartphones jumping from 23 to 73%. Imagine what it is today, 10 years later. Today, teens report spending a full workday, 8 hours, on their phones and can receive an average of 200 notifications. The consequences are clear. Reading and math scores are in decline since 2012. Smartphones were introduced into the classroom. 72% of high school teachers say the cell phone is a distraction and it's a major problem. A recent poll has 75 teachers favoring a full bell-to-bell ban. These numbers and studies that I just went through are taken from a bipartisan state Senate Bill 1014 in PA, recently introduced October 10th. This legislation would require PA schools to adopt a phone-free policy during the school day, with exceptions for individuals. Lower Merion Township is a leader statewide and nationally, and I think that the school board can and should enact a phone ban before this bill is passed at the state Senate level. This is a slam dunk issue for our children. Let's help them remove unnecessary anxieties and actually provide space for them to look up, to listen, and to learn. Thank you very much for the time.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Rahul Mistry. My son, Matai, is a junior football player at Harriton. We moved to Gladwin in 2011 and been in the district since. Tonight, I'm speaking on behalf of Harriton and Lower Merion football parents and booster communities. Our goal is simple. We want to preserve tackle football in Lower Merion School District safely, sustainably, and for the long term. Football is one of the most enriching, character-building experiences our students can have. It builds a discipline, teamwork, resilience, and gives young men a sense of belonging. But to preserve it, we need to adapt the way it is structured in our community. Both our high school programs are stretched thin. Lower Merion began the season with 41 players and had to cancel its entire JV season. Harriton faced the same situation last year when we canceled our entire JV season. We're not just missing JV games. 9 of the 10 Central League schools field freshman teams, giving their players safer and more structured development paths. Obviously, neither of our schools have freshman teams. This isn't about a lack of interest, it's about organization. Our unified middle school program currently fields a roster of 60 players, yet under the current model, those same teammates are split into 2 under-rostered high school football teams, undoing the progress we've already made and denying our students the development a freshman team provides. We should be building that momentum, not dividing it. It is not fair to our kids, and it's not safe. When rosters are thin, players are forced to play both ways and before they're physically ready, which increases injury risk. Not because the sport's unsafe, but because our current structure is inadequate. The Lower Merion Harriton football program unification brief, which I submitted to the board a week ago, outlines a practical, cost-neutral plan for a single unified high school football program starting in the fall of 2026. It's supported by over 280 verified signatures. It's a community consensus. We're asking the district to file a co-op agreement with the PIAA this fall to combine the teams for next season. We understand that under the co-op agreement, our team could win the Central League, but we'd be playoff ineligible. That's a trade-off our community fully accepts. This is about doing what's responsible, protecting our players, sustaining a program that matters to our community, and ensuring tackle football continues and thrives in Lower Merion School District for years to come. We ask for a timely response from the board to complete the unification next fall. Thank you for your time and continued support of our student athletes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Michelle Miller, then Chris McLeod, James Stretch, and Sierra Robinson.
Hi, my name is Michelle Miller. My son, Kai Miller, is a sophomore at Lower Merion. We live in Wynwood. He loves playing football, and our family strongly supports the merger of the Lower Merion and Harriton football teams. I'm here to reinforce Raul's well-thought-out strategy for accomplishing this merger. As parents, we love watching our kids play and excel in sports. However, that is not our main concern or the reason we're speaking here tonight. The merger of these teams is essential to ensure the safety and development of our student athletes. Lower Merion had to dissolve the JV team this year because there simply weren't enough players. This limits opportunities for younger athletes to learn and gain experience along the way. With such small rosters, players are taking on multiple positions each game and often playing the entire game on both sides of the ball. That's very intense, I couldn't do it. This increases the risk of injury and sometimes forces younger, less experienced players into varsity roles before they're ready. To create a safe and sustainable program that supports all players, we need both full JV and varsity teams, ideally, if enough players, also freshmen as well. For these reasons, I believe merging the programs is not just beneficial, but necessary. We're more than happy to meet with anyone who wants to discuss this and welcome a sit down to see what the next steps are to make this happen. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Chris McLeod, president of the Football Boosters at Harriton. My son Finn is a sophomore at Harriton. Oh, by the way, I live in Arbroath, I'm sorry. My son Finn is a sophomore at Harriton, and my son Tobin is a 7th grader at Welsh Valley. They both play and love football, and I support this proposed merger. I echo the points laid out by Rahul here tonight and the brief he submitted last week. I will add that my 7th grader currently plays football on 2 teams, including the merged middle school team at Welsh Valley and the CYO team through St. Margaret's and Narberth. I have the opportunity to talk to the parents of these young developing players. The common theme I hear is the parents would love to have their children play football at Lower Merion High School or Harriton, but it is well known that in their current state, both of these programs are struggling. Parents of children who love football are forced to consider looking outside of the district at a private or parochial school if they want to ensure a safe, rewarding program that allows their child to continue to develop through age and skill-appropriate high school levels with a freshman, JV, and varsity option. Looking at the merged middle school team and other 7th and 8th grade football players in the LMSD community, this proposed team merger allows us to have the proper numbers to be able to field a full freshman team rather than 9th graders being forced straight to JV or sometimes even varsity, where they play against older, more developed students. I firmly believe losing the option to enter the playoffs in the near future is a small price to pay for a safe and rewarding high school football experience. Based on all the facts I have at my disposal, I cannot see any reason that the board would not approve a football team merger that promotes safety and community for Lower Merion High School and Harriton students. I truly appreciate your time and attention tonight. Thank you.
Thank you.
James Stretch, then Sierra Robinson, Liz Gordon, and then Mona Al-Muqaddam, I think.
Good evening. This is probably the 5th time I've been in front of this board. I'm usually here as a representative for the special needs community. My name is James Stretch. I live in Penn Valley. I have a 5th grader and a 7th grader at Welsh Valley. I'm mainly here for my 7th grader tonight. He is one of the kids that plays football on the Welsh Valley team, as well as in the CYO, with Tobin, one of the other kids' parents who is here today. I want to talk about the personal side of this for my son. He is an autistic child. He has been in the school district, and he's gotten great support. He's always been included. He's never been a part of it. When he started playing football last year, he made friends that were neurotypical for the first time. People that have his back on and off the field, that look out for him at CYO, look out for him at Welsh Valley. And the only thing he wants is to be able to stay with those friends from Welsh Valley, Black Rock, Bala Cynwyd, and play football with them all the way through high school. It's not an option right now. He's enjoyed playing for the Welsh Valley team with his friends. But unless that changes, none of these kids are going to be able to play together through high school. I understand the safety, and I'm right on board with all of that. But as a parent, when you have the opportunity to give something to a child who so often in their life is going to be told you can't have that because you're different, to have the opportunity for him to have that, not just next year at middle school, but for 4 more years, is something that I beg of this council to seriously consider. It has been a life-changing event for my son to play football. He has come out of his shell in a way that is amazing. It's impacting how he interacts with his peers. It's impacting how he focuses on his schooling, because he knows to go to Harriton, where he'd be playing with all these kids in the proposal, he needs to have his academics on par to be in that school. If this can make that much of a difference for one special needs district kid, what else could it offer to all these other kids who feel the same way as he do and want to play with him, want to play with their friends, and what other kids might take advantage of this opportunity that have left it by the wayside previously because it wasn't safe. They couldn't play with their friends. So as a parent, please consider this, and I hope you guys make the choice that you will do it, because the benefit to the students, and to my son personally, it's me being selfish, has been immeasurable, and I can't wait to see what it would offer going forward. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, my name is Sierra Robinson. I'm a parent in Bryn Mawr. I wanted to write a compelling speech to share tonight, but if I'm being honest, I'm largely here to protect some of my associates from other hostile community members, because this is where we're at as a community, where grown adults bully, harass, and demean other community members who don't think like them. Correct me if I'm wrong, but my understanding is at the last meeting, a group of community members followed one of the board members to their vehicle. Some community members also left one of my associates feeling unsafe because she was wearing Arabic writing, which is her native language. So I'm here today to ensure her protection and to speak to you as a very concerned parent. My own daughter was aggressively verbally attacked by a community member in public for wearing a keffiyeh in town. He actually screamed "F you" at her, and she's 12. The aggressive tone that he took with her told me that he would have physically harmed her if given the opportunity. What are we even doing here? Who are we as a collective, and what are we standing for when we allow and enable some community members to bully community elected school board members into doing their bidding by silencing free speech and therefore denying the very existence of our own neighbors and their children? I have broader issues I want to discuss here, but we need to get this right so that we can collectively work together to make LMSD the great place that we all believe it can be. Not only does the school board have a legal obligation to uphold free speech and to equally protect all, and I mean all people, regardless of race, gender, religion, ethnicity, or nationality, but it has individual members have a moral obligation as well. Last time I addressed you, I stated that this board helps set the tone for the community at large. Your decision set a standard. When you silence people, it signals to some that those people are less than and opens up space for verbal and physical violence against not only our neighbors, but our own precious children whom are learning from us even when we aren't directly teaching them. I've personally been called anti-Semitic by people whom I couldn't even pick out of a lineup. They don't know me, nor do I know them. But this is where we are at. Community members don't feel safe being seen or speaking up because they're afraid of being ridiculed, silenced, or physically harmed. If I've learned anything by being in the community with the people of Lower Merion, it's that the majority of us care about our neighbors and we're tired of the hateful rhetoric and selfish demands that center some and deny others. There needs to be a reassurance of a safe space in our schools and our community for every person to be themselves and share their beliefs and ideas, regardless of if someone else likes it or agrees with it. We are a beautifully diverse community, and that's something we need to be proud of and build around, not silence or deny.
Thank you. Liz Gordon, then Mona, then Carol Shakow, and Miriam Shakow.
Hello, I'm Liz Gordon, and I live in Marion Station, and I have one child at Bala Kinwood Middle School and one at Lower Merion High School. I appreciate the chance to speak tonight. I want to share thoughts about the ongoing complaints and confusion regarding what some are calling anti-Semitism in our district. At a recent meeting, someone said that the phrase "Free Palestine" constitutes hate speech. Another called for removing a book that they labeled as anti-Israel. I've heard calls to bar from speaking former students who are active in their college campus efforts for justice for Palestinians. As a Jewish parent, I want to say clearly, I do not feel threatened by hearing statements of solidarity with Palestinians, including the phrase "Free Palestine." What troubles me is the vitriol and mistrust I hear in response. I am disheartened that our school board meetings have become a forum for denying historical context and for what feels to me like racism. These reactions rest on a worldview that pits Jewish safety against the safety of others and that conflates my Jewish identity with the political interests of a state engaged in violence. They also suggest that Jews are somehow separate, incapable of committing the kinds of injustices that any group in power can commit. That strips us of our shared humanity and our moral accountability. It may be true that some Jewish students feel unsafe hearing the phrase "Free Palestine," and it breaks my heart that Jews who as a group have heeded a call for their own self-determination cannot tolerate hearing a call for Palestinian freedom. The Judaism I grew up with taught that we cannot be free unless everyone is free. It supported universal human rights. Over 100,000 Palestinians were expelled from their homes in the Nakba prior to and in the early days after Israel's independence. Finding a home for Jews meant, in practice, displacing a people who, in the early 1900s, constituted over 90% of the land's population. Some fear that speaking truthfully about Israel's founding makes Jews unsafe, but as history shows, healing and peace begin with acknowledging wrongs committed. Palestinian-American writer and activist Susan Abu Hawa expressed this beautifully in one of her novels. The only that only through recognition of harm can genuine healing begin. Safety doesn't come from silencing or denying another people's call for freedom. It comes from slowing down, acknowledging pain, and acting justly. If more of us could approach this history with openness rather than reflexively assuming anti-Semitism, we might begin to feel safer and work towards a shared peace. School board members, I urge you to uphold your duty to protect free speech, including protecting the inclusion of books that describe the impact of the founding of Israel on the majority population that lived in Palestine, and to protect the rights of students or speakers who dare to voice support for Palestinians during this heartbreaking time in our history. Discomfort may come with learning this history, but discomfort is not danger.
Thank you.
It
I
can
think
be
your
the
time's
beginning
up.
of compassion and
Sorry.
peace.
Thank you.
Hi. So I'm Mona Al-Mukarram, and actually I was the one who was made to feel very uncomfortable
You
for
need
attending
to
last
state
board meeting.
where you're from in the district, please.
Yeah, sure. So my name is Mona Al-Mukarram, and I'm a Bala Kinwood resident and a mother of 2 children who attend the schools in the district. I have listened to several board meetings, but I have to say last month was my first one to attend in person. I left that meeting shocked and saddened by the level of hostility and negativity that I heard. I did not feel that I was welcomed at all. However, I moved to Lower Merion School District because of its reputation of being a diverse and enriching community, a place where my children can grow, learn, and belong. As someone who attended private school, I was thrilled that my kids were going to go to a public school where they can walk to school with their friends and experience a true sense of community. However, the past 2 years have not felt that way. As many families from the Middle East, we have faced unimaginable losses of loved ones, of homes, of stability. I haven't slept well for the past 24 months, tossing and turning, making speeches in my head, trying to find the words to explain, we are humans too. We love our children too. Our souls have been gutted from watching children and babies being killed, starved, and orphaned every single day. And instead of receiving compassion, we are met with hostility and the wrongful accusation of us wanting to incite violence. It has been so painful for me to see that one group's interpretation is being allowed to define another group's intent. My children and I now hesitate to wear anything with Arabic letters, fearing it might make others feel uncomfortable. My child said to me, "Mom, I'm scared people at school will know that I'm Arab and that we have Palestinian relatives and friends." I have even been told directly that because I'm Arab and Muslim, it's very hard for people to believe that I can truly truly like Jewish people, and that I was raised to hate them. That was said to my face by a friend, not even realizing how hurtful that comment was. And I want to be very clear, I have never wished or caused harm to anyone. But lately it feels like simply being who I am is treated as a threat. And many others in the community feel the same, but we are terrified to speak up. I find myself asking this question over and over. How should I raise my children? Should I tell them to hide their identity so they don't make others feel uncomfortable? Or should I teach them to be proud of who they are while warning them that some people may not view us as equals? I will still ask the board, though, to uphold your own principles of inclusivity, equity, and respect. Ensure that all families, Arabs, Muslims, Jewish, Christians, and from all walks of life, feel seen, safe, and valued. I'm not asking for special treatment at all. I'm really just asking you to treat me as a human being, deserving of empathy, dignity, and equality. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Carol Shakow, and I live in Marion Station. I have one grandson at Bala Kinwood Middle School and another who graduated recently from Lower Merion High School. I was born in 1945, and I first heard about Israel as a refuge for members of my extended family who were escaping the Holocaust in Europe. As a young teenager in the 1950s, I fell in love with the culture of kibbutz life, which I learned back then was bringing milk and honey to the desert. As a young adult in the 60s, I felt dismayed about the warfare that seemed to be part of the bargain. In the subsequent 5 decades, I have felt increasingly distressed by images of Palestinian villages being bulldozed. Now I am 80 years old, and I am heartbroken about the destruction and violence that have become Israel's story, and by the loss of clarity about fundamental Jewish moral values and laws regarding justice and mercy. I am deeply troubled by the division within the Jewish community. We know that multi-generational trauma fuels fear. This is certainly true for Jews, as well as for Palestinians, immigrants, and indigenous people of the Americas, just to name a few. Fear of the other has become increasingly pervasive in our world, and I believe that this divisiveness and fear of the other is being encouraged and created in our community at large as a strategy to destroy free speech and democracy. What I fear the most is that we will succumb to this toxic strategy of divisiveness and loss of democracy and free speech. I believe that the only way to heal these divisions is through dialogue with one another. Not necessarily a comfortable option, but isn't discomfort often a natural response to learning and growth? What if, instead of shutting down free speech, our school curriculum were to include a learning program that supports and facilitates conflict resolution and communication? This could be an opportunity to both strengthen our children and our democracy. I fervently hope that my grandsons will know that they and all their classmates are safe to speak about what they are afraid of. And I pray that all of our children will feel safe.
Thank you. Miriam, then we have Talia Nissim, then we have Dina Pack, and I think it's Kristen Kahn.
Good evening. My name is Miriam Shacko, and I live in Marion Station. I have a son who graduated LM 2 years ago, and another son who's a 6th grader at Balkenwood Middle School. And I'm also asking today for the LMSD curriculum to teach human rights in a way that addresses the moral problem of prioritizing some people's human rights over others. I'm Jewish, my kids are Jewish, I'm part of a Jewish community. My great-grandfather, a chief rabbi of New York City, Reb Velvela Margolis, was against the formation of a Jewish state of Israel before it was inaugurated. He was anti-Zionist and anti-Israel, but not anti-Semitic. I call on the school board to prioritize human rights in a nuanced way in our district curriculum. The 1948 Universal Declaration of Human Rights, which the United States ratified, includes, among other articles, a right to the life, liberty, and security of person, Article 3, that, quote, all are equal before the law and are entitled without any discrimination to equal protection of the law, Article 7, and that everyone has a right to a nationality, Article 15. The current LMSD curriculum about anti-Semitism, which includes a definition that anti-Semitism includes opposition to the state of Israel, does not support these fundamental human rights. LMSD curriculum must teach our students the importance of safety and rights for all people, not just Jews. That includes Palestinians, African Americans, immigrants from all places, as well as people who are not affected by or not directly impacted by U.S. foreign policy, like people in Sudan, Uyghurs, Rohingya, etc. It's unethical, in my view, to have a curriculum that teaches LMSD students explicitly or implicitly that Jews are more deserving of safety than other groups of people, and that Jewish students are more deserving of safety than other groups of students. Assemblies and educational events that portray anti-Semitism as a bigger problem than other types of racism and violent group blame, like what we've seen going on in Palestine over the last 2 years, is harmful, in my view, to my child's ethical development. And I also want to say that I believe that Jewish people, including me, have been told a big lie by other Jews, that creating a Jewish state in 1948 was the only path to safety after the Holocaust. And I just want to point out that the Universal Declaration of Human Rights was created in 1948 at the moment that Israel was created. And yet the formation of the State of Israel and the conduct of the State of Israel since then has not been in keeping with the Universal Declaration. And moreover, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights was in part an answer to the atrocities of the Holocaust. So I'm calling in the 21st century for LMSD to affirm rather than deny the basic human rights of all people, including Jewish and non-Jewish students in our district. Thank you.
Thank you. Talia, then Dina, and then I think it's Krishna and Michelle Vessel.
Hi, Talia Nasim Ardmore. Let's talk about priorities, because how a school district spends its money reveals what it truly values. In Lower Merion, our district spends around $1 million every single year on legal fees. This price sticker has been on the district for nearly, if not longer, than a decade. Now here's the part that should truly stop every taxpayer in their tracks. Nearby districts that use the exact same law firm pay a fraction of that. Central Bucks School District spent about $140,000 in 2024 and has 17,000 students compared to our 8,600. Radnor Township, just next door, spent $80,000 in 2022, $102,000 in 23, and $125,000 in 2024. That's an average of just over $100,000 per year, less than 1/10 of what Lower Merion spends. And when you dig into the details, it's even more troubling. In Radnor, special education legal costs make up less than 1% of total legal spending each year. In Lower Merion, more than 60% of all legal spending is tied to fighting families of children with IEPs. That difference isn't just financial, it's philosophical. It's about how districts choose to treat families. This pattern goes beyond budgets, it's a culture. Recently, during questioning, former Superintendent Dr. Yanni admitted that he withheld an internal abuse investigation of a child in his district on the advice of the district's lawyers, Whistler and Pearlstein. Central Bucks School District fired them for this, and yet they remain our legal counsel. That's not transparency, that's control, and it shows exactly why our legal costs are so high. Decisions are being driven by lawyers, not by what's best for students. We also need to consider and ask why Kim Frazier is allowing all of this to happen. These dollars could fund reading specialists, occupational therapy, and classroom aides. They could directly support these children who need it most. Instead, our district is spending 7 to 8 times more than our neighbors to fight the very families we're supposed to serve. Why would the person in charge of protecting these children allow this to happen? It doesn't have to be this way. We can demand leadership that values partnership over posturing, collaboration over confrontation. We can choose to invest in students, not lawsuits. Lower Merion can and must do better. Let's hold our leaders accountable, restore transparency, and make sure every dollar is spent in helping children, not hiding the truth. Because at the end of the day, this isn't just a budget issue, it's a moral one. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi everyone, Dina Pack, Bala-Cynwyd. My speech is shorter than everyone else's, but I think everyone will agree, maybe after I do it, that it's pretty powerful. This evening I'm here to talk about an agenda item, which, by the way, I would love to pose to the board and Superintendent Rinelli. Maybe community comment could be about agenda items in the future. I think we go off left field sometimes, and I really would love to focus on the school. I'm here about an agenda item. Scott Weinstein is being nominated for promotion to Assistant Superintendent of Schools for Lower Merion. I have received some very concerning information through right-to-know requests, and I want to be sure that all board members and the community are given this information prior to the vote. These emails were only received by a few members of the administration, and therefore it's very possible that many or some of the board members are unaware of them. In February 2025, Maddie Hanna was writing an article in the Inquirer about the achievement gap in Lower Merion School District. She reached out to Amy Buckman about the article that she was writing about the achievement gap, and in order to answer the request, then Superintendent Dr. Mussolini asked Scott Weinstein to compile some metrics and data about the achievement of Black students in Lower Merion. Scott Weinstein did provide this data, though after having seen some of it, it is flawed in my opinion, but I am not a statistician, so I would leave that to the experts. And Dr. Mussolini, Amy Buckman, and Megan Schaefer used this as the data to launch the response to the Inquirer. In response to the data that Scott supplies, Dr. Mussolini emails the following response. I would like to be clear to the community, these are not my words. This is an email. I'm reading it. This is not something I believe. This is not something I agree with, okay? Reading an email. Sent Thursday, February 20th. Great work, Scott. Love this. Thank you. I think there's a story here about no achievement gap. If we're graduating 90% of our Black students, I'm seriously asking, what achievement gap? Does this gap suddenly disappear in the LMSD Black students when he or she becomes a senior? I'm serious when I say this, but all this to-do and hand-wringing about the achievement gap may be nothing but test anxiety. When a Black child enters the system, the child's attitude towards the test, or something we're not even contemplating. But again, if 90+% of our Black graduating students are heading to major colleges like these, then I don't understand what all the to-do is about an achievement gap. Do any of you? Please enlighten me. This email, abhorrent, by the way, was received by Scott Weinstein, Amy Buckman, and Megan Schaefer. In the RTQ request, there is absolutely no response. Not, that is awful, or we should never say things like this. No response. I would ask the board and community to seriously consider this very concerning approach to the education of our Black and brown students and the self-interested sanitation of the LMSD information in the interest of writing a more compelling article. I would ask that if we are comfortable—
Ma'am, your time is up.
Sorry, your time's up. I can't hear the beeper down there. I apologize.
No, it's okay. Sorry.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Krishna Khan, and I live in Ardmore. I've lived in Lower Merion my entire life. I grew up here thinking this was a relatively tolerant place, and for the most part, that has been true. Full transparency, while I am not Middle Eastern, I am half South Asian, and I did grow up in a Muslim tradition. As a kid, I dreaded conversations about religion because everyone else got to go around saying I'm Jewish or I'm Christian. And then if I said I was Muslim, people would have questions, wouldn't know what that was, or they'd have a very, very specific idea of what that was, which wasn't me. But also there was the part where I was going to be scared I would get called a terrorist. And yes, that did happen a couple times. And although that was years ago, it seems like we're right back there, where people feel like their fear justifies thinking that brown and Arab people are terrorists or terrorist sympathizers, and that it's okay to make us jump through hoops to prove otherwise. I see and hear people in Lower Merion using the word Arab to emphasize that somebody is scary and dangerous, and that it is somehow more reasonable to treat that person as a threat because they're Arab. I'm tired of it. And I don't think I'm the only one, but at this point, a lot of brown and Arab people, after 24 years since 9/11, got used to keeping their heads down, and that's just kind of the culture now. Lay low. Don't make a fuss. Don't speak out. It's not worth it. You'll just make yourself a target, and nothing will change. Well, I refuse to believe that last part. But if I do speak out, I still feel like I have to be so careful, because nowadays there are people who are not interested in actually listening to me or anybody who looks like me. They're just hunting for evidence that we are actually radical, whatever they think we are. However, this isn't about me. I can deal with this as an adult with some practice speaking about politically charged topics. This is a school district, and we're talking about students here. Children who, on top of extracurriculars and academics and everything else they've got going on in their lives, are trying to figure out how the world works at a time of political hyperpolarization when, frankly, the world doesn't work. And their frontal lobes, their impulse control is still developing. So what happens if the district doesn't offer grace and charitability, but instead listens to the loud, angry voices of those who want to make a harsh example out of, again, children who are seeing current events that are unfathomably horrific no matter how you look at it? and are trying to wrap their heads around a nightmare that adults don't even know how to talk about. How can we expect students to have difficult conversations about things like Israel and Palestine if they're forced to walk on eggshells around it for fear of being suspended if they say the wrong thing? Should they just not talk about it? I would like to believe that LMSD could instead be an example of a district where students are able to have these conversations in a way that is constructive, where they learn how to express what they're thinking and feeling, and where even those who disagree are genuinely trying to understand each other rather than pushing their talking points or looking for gotchas to prove that the other person is evil and hateful. And this is a skill that the kids can use for the rest of their lives. But if the adults can't do it, how can the kids?
Thank you very much.
Michelle Vessel and then Heather Farrell.
Hi, Michelle Vessel, Gladwin. I'm just going to finish Dina's statement. I would ask the board and community to seriously consider this very concerning approach to the education of our Black and brown students and the self-interested sanitation of the facts by LMSD admin. If Dr. Mussolini felt so comfortable in his audience to dismiss the very real concerns about the disparity in education in our district, he clearly was under the impression that the recipients agree with him and support his views. The incomparable Mahatma Gandhi said, "Silence becomes cowardice when occasion demands speaking out the whole truth and acting accordingly. Silence in the face of this type of rhetoric is important and has no place in our district." And then that was the end of her statement. I'm here tonight to discuss that it's been discussed about recent meetings about how the comments are handled. And it was also stated that some of the parents that spoke that they were making comments, but their questions had already been answered and they just didn't like the answers. And I just don't think that's always the case. Dr. Anelli, you also said at a meeting that there was a lack of trust that needs to be rebuilt. And I completely agree with that. But trust goes both ways. It's hard for the community to have trust when transparency is lacking and when right-to-know requests reveal concerning comments from board members. One that was concerning to me was referring to a Jewish parent's concern for their child as a playbook move. When that issue was raised publicly at a school board meeting, where we're told that we can make comments but not receive responses, a board member chose to reply anyway, saying that claim was misinformation and that she'd be more than happy to address it. She also reminded us that we need to be careful about misinformation and disinformation. I took her at her word and I reached out by email and I never received a response. And I'd like to ask, how is it decided which parents receive responses and which are ignored? And more importantly, how can trust be rebuilt when some voices in this community are dismissed or mischaracterized without accountability? That's it. And there was also a lot of misinformation that was spoken during these comments. Should I email to get a response about that? And will I get a response? Thank you.
Hi, good evening. My name's Heather Farrell. I live in Penn Valley, and I have 3 boys in the school district. 2 are at Lower Merion High School, and my youngest son is at Welsh Valley. I've raised all of my children in this district, and I'm very grateful that I've had the ability to do so. They're great students and athletes, my sons, and I'm very fortunate. I'm reaching out for your leadership in what we consider a dire situation regarding our football teams. All of my sons have played youth football with St. Margaret's Parish, like had been mentioned previously, and I can speak to the inclusion and diversity that we have in our community, and it's very heartfelt, so I appreciate the comments from the previous families. My sons have taken art class in the district. They have been in chess camps. They've played basketball and baseball, soccer and tennis, but because I've had the privilege of exposing my kids to all of these sports, unfortunately, they love football. So here I am, a mom to 3 boys. Lower Merion is not a traditional football community. We don't have a youth football team. So as mentioned before, the kids here play for the Archdiocese or the surrounding teams in Roxborough and Haverford Township. Many folks here do not support the injury risk with football. Many folks here can afford college without athletics as a means of scholarship. Football attracts hardworking, disciplined families, coaches, and players. It is definitely a community effort to have a football team. I'm actually the co-treasurer of the Lower Merion football team. At Lower Merion High School, we have a core group of folks dedicated to supporting our football players and a core group of very skilled players. Unfortunately, the number of players is few and dwindling, and the skill level is not competitive with our rivals. Thank you. We are getting blown out, and we do not have a marching band. I just want to point that out. Currently, the morale of the team is at an all-time low, and brainstorming with Harridan has given us ideas. We would like to be heard. Some of our kids have suffered injuries. My son included suffered a tib-fib fracture last year. He is back on the field this year with the support of our athletic department, the trainers, and the coaches. I realize this is not an easy fix, but I feel combining of the teams is long overdue. A tale as old as time in Lower Merion, like no lights on Arnold Field. Many parents agree. Transportation of the students to one field or another may be challenging, but we're here and we're willing to brainstorm. Thank you for the time, and please consider a pep band.
Thank you. That's it for the in-person comments, but we have chats next.
Let's go to the chat.
Okay, I count, I think 7. First, Lisa Pereira, Marion Station. I am writing this comment to support for the current school board. I am co-parenting after a divorce, and the district makes it so easy for our children to get bused between 2 different homes. This is true even when he has 2 different houses. This makes this little piece of a hard situation for the kids easier. I am very pleased with the school board for implementing the new start times. I have a 9th grader and 6th grader, and it is so much better for my 9th grader. My 6th grade son suffered a knee injury at cross-country practice. I want to express my thanks and support for the athletic trainers the district employs. Next comment is Lindsay Bognano, resident of Marion Station. I have 3 kids at Marion Elementary. I would like to start by saying thank you to the members of the school board for your commitment to all of our children and to the Lower Merion School District. It is not easy to do the work you do. I would like to tell you that so many of us see you and stand behind you and appreciate you. At dinner tonight, I asked each of my 3 kids and my husband to tell me what they appreciate the most and would like me to share with all of you tonight. Here you go. From M, a 4th grader, if you don't understand this education, they give you tools to help you understand everything. From E, a 4th grader, I love orchestra and chimes. It's the best part of my week. From I, a 2nd grader, I just want to thank the teachers and staff for everything you do. When kids get hurt, there are people to help them. From my husband, Mike, I am thankful for the personal attention that our kids get from their teachers. If you ever wonder if the work you do matters, know that the Bognano family sees you. We are happy to live here in Lower Merion and be part of LMSD. Next is Brielle Ray in Narberth. I have children at LMHS, BC, and Marion. I want to provide comments about the lockdown. Teachers and administrators are put in an impossible situation with managing these situations. But my daughter, who was a 9th grader at LMHS, expressed that there was mass confusion and everyone was told to go to their advisory. Her advisory was on a different floor from where she was and was running down the hall to her advisory, thinking the shooter could be behind her. She was absolutely terrified. I hope the school does an assessment of how this went and what could be done to execute these better next time, especially during the lunch period. I also want to recognize Marion as doing a great job keeping the kids calm. Ayala Kanan from Marion Station. At the last curriculum committee meeting, no one was willing to have a serious conversation about concerns regarding anti-Semitism because it wasn't on the agenda. So I would like to know, when will a discussion about anti-Semitism be on the agenda? Kristen Taraneth, Bryn Mawr. I've come here to thank LMHS for the education of my 2024 graduate. He graduated last year and is thriving at Temple University. Thank you to all the teachers, counselors, and Dr. Johnson. Next, Esther Schwartzman, Bryn Mawr. Why does LMSD exclude Jews from equity? LMSD offers a handful of race and ethnicity courses, but not a single Jewish course. Why is the achievement gap growing under your leadership? The board recently voted for a 4% property tax increase, and despite a $340 million budget, you are operating on a deficit. This board is out of touch with the current needs of our students. Megan Bowe, Narberth. I'm the booster president for LMHS football. I'm here to voice support for the sport of tackle football. In order for this sport to be a positive developmental experience for our kids and to ensure player safety, we need to combine the LMHS and Harriton teams. That concludes the chat comments.
Thank you very much. I know that was a lot on everyone. We're still going to move through the rest of the meeting and the voting, and we have a lot to pull from this. So as we go through, just everybody bear with us with this pulling from the consent agenda and voting. Okay. First piece I'm going to pull, and Mr. Ruse, if I get this wrong at any point in time, please correct me. Okay, great. Like I said in the beginning, the business board meeting has a lot of rules you have to follow, so sometimes we have to be reminded of them. 8A is, and Frank, did you want to do this or did you want me? Yep, okay. 8A, we wanted to pull from the consent agenda. This is a retirement, so we wanted to congratulate Deb Williams on her retirement. Ms. Williams has been employed as a bookkeeper in our business office and will be retiring on December 2025. She is in her 30th year at the district, and we just wanted to make sure that we publicly acknowledge the teachers, the students, the principals, the administration, and also the bookkeepers that make our district run. So could everybody please give Deb Williams a big round of applause? Okay, part 2, pulled from the consent agenda. 8B is Scott Weinstein's contract. I'm going to turn it to the board for discussion.
Hi, I just wanted to make a statement. While I can't speak to Dr. Musling's perspective or intent, I do want to put on record the number of times I have partnered with Dr. Scott Weinstein in reference to the opportunity gap. He has spoken publicly at curriculum meetings, at board meetings about the need of the district doing more, and also was integral at changing the math trajectory last year when it was brought to the administration's attention that there were some systemic issues in how we were approaching it. So while I can't speak to why or why not he responded in email, I could have made my own interpretation about why I personally wouldn't respond to that in email either. I did want to go on record to just support the work I've seen him do in action for the topic that was brought up earlier. Thank you.
You absolutely, this is, so when we pull something from anything on the agenda, if we open it for board discussion, so anybody can ask a question, have a dialogue. Solicitor Ruse, sorry, I can't get your whole name. If we go through all of them, can I then do them as a group vote?
Sure.
Okay, thanks.
That's fine.
So I'm going to ask a question. Basically, okay, I just want to make sure. I would like to find out more information about this email thread and understand what was being discussed, as I don't believe I was on this thread because it doesn't seem like something I've seen before. I just have some questions and some concerns, so I just would like to get some more information before any decisions are made on my part.
So now I'm going to back up. Just to follow Robert's rules, I'm going to do this in a single vote for every single one. So number 1 is 8A, which was the retirement, and the congratulations to Deb Williams. So Ken, I'm going back to doing it vote by vote, okay?
That's fine, but if somebody wants to vote nay or A or some other vote on just one item, they can simply say that. So they don't have to just vote for.
Okay, that sounds great.
Yeah.
That sounds, okay, got it now. Thank you. Again, we're all learning as we go, even though I've done this a million times. we're going to keep going then. So next is 8C.
Can I say one more thing on
Yep,
8B?
go right ahead. Sorry, don't mean to jump.
No, it's okay.
Back to 8B.
I just wanted to also offer my support to approving this contract for Mr. Weinstein. I have had the pleasure of working with him in the 6 years I have been on this board. I have been on or chairing the curriculum committee every single year. It is my baby. I love that group, and I have seen Scott present to us as a principal where he admirably led Harridan High School and stepped up very quickly into the job of assistant superintendent at one point, formerly interim assistant superintendent, I believe was his title. And he really hit the ground running. This is a big job, and there is a big learning curve to being able to do this. And Scott was incredibly receptive to feedback, took great notes, put together really important agendas, worked with us on adjusting where things needed to change, and that flexibility and knowledge in a leader is something that I really value in somebody I work with. I can attest to the fact that Scott really cares about our kids, and that's why he gets up in the morning, and that's why he comes here every day. It is my pleasure to work with him, and I very much hope that we as a board approve his appointment so that we can continue to do so.
Any other questions or discussion from the board on 8B, the Scott Weinstein contract? Then I am going to go out of order, Ken, on this one and call for a vote now. Any objections to that, Ken?
I'm just making sure you're clear. Are you calling for a vote on
Just 8B. Just 8B, and then the other ones didn't let me go through line by line, so I'm going to go out. I will organize it again at the end.
I don't think there's been a motion or a second for...
Well, I know, I was
Okay.
going to walk through that. I'm just,
Okay.
before you, okay, cool. Okay, so right now, the only thing that we're going to vote on, because we have a few more to go through, is the one that is up for discussion right now, which is 8B of the consent agenda, Scott Weinstein contract. Okay, I need somebody to motion.
I move to approve item 8B and appoint Scott Weinstein to the position of assistant superintendent as laid out in the agenda.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions?
Aye.
Motion passes. Now we are going to go through the rest of the items that were pulled from consent agenda, and we will go back to 8A and put that in a bundle together when we vote. So 8C, I would like to take a moment and pull this from the consent agenda. Our biology teacher who taught at Lower Merion High School from September 1969 till he retired in June 2002, Barry Pierce, has passed away. He passed away on September 28th, 2005. We wanted to take a moment to thank Mr. Pierce for his support and work of our students and our district. And we'd also like to take a moment to send our thoughts and our hearts to his family. Thank you, Mr. Pierce. 10A is overnight trips. Sarah would like to pull this for discussion. Sarah?
Thanks. Just wanted to have a discussion considering that there are a large number of trips on our agenda for tonight, the overnight trip request. Was wondering if we could provide a brief overview on how a determination is made as to whether the trip is paid for by the district or students are paying for the cost of the trips. I know that we have language in policy 151 referencing selectively funding extracurricular opportunities. I'm wondering if that can be further explained a bit.
Yeah, sure. So there are certain clubs that are extracurricular. There are certain clubs and teams that are co-curricular. For example, if a robotics club has a competition and they reach a state level or a national level, we typically would pay for more of that trip, but there would also be fundraising and things like that. If a team or a club chooses to do something outside of their schedule, that doesn't impact their season or their club at all, typically that cost is deferred to the students. Again, do fundraising and things like that. So if a baseball team or a lacrosse team wishes to go to Florida to get a tournament in the winter or something like that, it doesn't impact their season. It is not part of their scheduled season, so typically they would be, the cost would be deferred to them. If in fact, like I said, a robotics club, something like that, reached the national or state level tournament, we would pay for more of that trip than we would for like a sports team, like I mentioned.
Thanks. And then if we are paying for any of these trips, where in our budget does that funding come from? Is there a certain amount allocated each year up to?
I don't know if it's up to. We plan for those competitions based on the history that we have, and it would be out of our operating budget.
Further questions there? Nope. Anyone else? Okay, we're moving through the list. Keeps popping off. Okay, next, 11C. On behalf of the Board of School Directors, I graciously accept the donation on tonight's agenda of a replacement plaque in memory of Sal Cicalano at Welsh Valley School, donated by his mother, and a donation of $4,000 to Harrington High School Athletic Department from the Gallagher family in memory of their father, Joseph Gallagher. We thank you both in behalf of the school district and the board. Thank you. I think we should round of applause that. Okay, thank you. Okay, last item being pulled from consent agenda is 12B, the Kinwood squash. Sarah, you had a couple clarifying questions on this one?
Yeah. Just looking over the contract, it states that the contract goes from 3 p.m. to 4:30 p.m. at the Kinwood Club, and knowing with our change in school start times, our high schoolers no longer get out earlier in the day. They now don't get dismissed until 3:15. So just wondering if you can provide a little bit more information. Are students leaving early for practices or games in order to utilize that full 3 p.m. to 4:30 p.m.? Is there a shortened practice time? How exactly is that working?
Yeah, so there's absolutely a shortened practice time. We don't get there until about 3:30, so we are there from 3:30 to 4:30. The Kinwood Club wouldn't accept a contract that would take us from 3:30 to 4:30, and they cannot extend us from 3:30 to 5 because of their membership, and we understand that totally. We are grateful for them because they're the only squash location in the district that we know of that would offer a contract like this. Yeah, we are getting there about 3:30 and utilizing the time from 3 to 3:15 when we can, but that's not usually every day.
Thanks. And then one other question for that regarding how payment works for that type of activity. I know the contract says that the students pay the district and then the district pays the Kinwood Club. Is there a reason to not just have students directly pay Kinwood Club and us as kind of the middleman managing that?
So Mr. Orlando, can you provide, or Mr. Roos, can you provide the answer to that? I don't know why they wouldn't pay directly, but it would make sense to me to collect the money and make one payment rather than them having to chase down all the individual payments. So is that accurate?
And that's not just Kinwood Squash, it's this Kinwood Squash Club. So sorry about that. Okay.
The Kinwood Club.
Kinwood
Just
Club.
the Kinwood Club. The squash team
Club.
plays and
Squash
practices
team,
there.
yes. Just a joke. Doesn't need to
A
be
joint
clarified.
Harrington and Lower Merion Club, by the way.
Thank you. Okay, now we're finalizing this. That is all that was pulled from the consent agenda. We only pulled out one to do a singular vote. The rest we will do as a full consent vote. So now do I have a motion to approve all the items listed and the items in the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
No further discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes. Thank you all very much for that. Mr. Roos, will you now make an announcement required by the Pennsylvania Sunshine Act?
Yes, there were two executive session topics today. One was regarding real property and the other was involving personnel.
Thank you very much. Now, we had those great committee meetings that feels like 10 hours ago, but what I want to make sure everybody knows the next time they can engage in a conversation with the board around the school district and our students. November 17th is the regular business board meeting at 7 p.m. and we'll be back in the main board meeting room. Committee meetings will be November 7th, policy at 9 a.m. That will also be in the main board meeting room and on Zoom. All of these are also on Zoom. November 10th is curriculum at 7 p.m. November 13th is facilities and purchasing. That is 9:30 a.m. via Zoom only. Thank you all for the commitment that you show to each other, to our community, and to our students. Have an excellent night, and please take candy with you on your way out.